This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Hey everybody, when you're at work, you never know when you're going to get interrupted, like when an office fire drill happens right in the middle of your presentation, or maybe construction is going on just outside your window. But with the Dell Pro laptop powered by Intel Core Ultra with vPro, no matter how many interruptions you have, your laptop won't be one of them.
Yeah, with the battery that's optimized for the way you work and built-in intelligence that quiets distractions the moment you're trying to focus, your tech won't slow you down, even when you're getting bounced from an office you forgot to reserve. The Dell Pro, built for those who stay in the flow. Find technology built the way you work at Dell.com/Dell-Pro. Built for you.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder the Capital One bank guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also talk about how most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One, N.A., member FDIC.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant. Chuckers, Chuck Tran. Yeah, I had to spice it up a little bit with some old school stuff. And no one else is here with us. We're alone out there in the ether. And this is Stuff You Should Know.
Although my prediction is, we started recording a bit early today since we're on our own. I bet guest producer Dave and short stuff producer Dave is going to chime in about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'll look forward to hearing what he says.
What's your deal with karaoke? I sort of know, but I think the people should know. We should exchange stories.
Oh, okay. I like karaoke. I particularly like karaoke in the K-Box, which we'll talk about, which is basically just a little private karaoke room for you and your friends. Have some great memories of karaoke like that. But I'll do it in front of an audience if I get a drink or two in me, Not too much, though. You go too much, you start trying to, fight the piano player or something like that.
So like live karaoke?
Yeah, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but Sig Gold's Request Room in Manhattan is the place to go for live piano karaoke. It's just a beautiful, wonderful place. So if you haven't been there, go check it out. It's great. About as good as live karaoke gets, like live instrument karaoke.
All right, so I haven't been there. I will go.
Still?
I forget,
I thought you would have gone this past year.
Yeah, right. Haven't been there. Never been in a K-Box.
Really?
No, never had the private we'll pronounce it karaoke, even though it's karaoke. Karaoke, but no, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not. Because I think Dave Roos helps us out. He's like, you can pronounce it correctly, but don't be expected to be invited out to karaoke night with your friends anymore.
Right, after you practice your karate.
Right, exactly.
So I have done live karaoke a few years ago. On my birthday, we went to the one that has the rock band in the Virginia Highlands.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I mean, they have the full-on band. It's rock and roll live karaoke.
Sounds fun.
One of the local Atlanta DJs, English Nick, is there to serve as sort of a backup singer, and they can mix his vocals in more if you're really bad because no one wants to hear that kind of thing.
Sure.
But I get up there and did Surrender by Cheap Trick, and I saw him at one point even stand away from the mic, and I was like, I've got this.
Oh, wow. He like went and did something else, huh? Maybe ate some corn chips or something?
A tip of the cap.
Right.
But my deal with karaoke is I used to be scared to death to try it. And that was when I had severe stage fright, performance anxiety, which I completely got over because now I'm in a band that sings in front of people. You and I get on stage in front of 1,400 people, and it doesn't bother me anymore. I think I'd still probably be a little nervous to do like a acoustic open mic thing.
Yeah, and you should be for a number of reasons.
But it's just funny how I used to be so scared and really overthink karaoke, like sit in the room, anxiety, sweats. I really want to do it, but I won't put my name down.
Right.
And then, the night comes and goes and I don't do it. Then I have this guilt and bad feelings. It was a thing.
Wow. How old
now,
were you at the time?
Oh, I mean, this was in my 20s and into my early 30s, I think.
Yeah.
When I moved to LA is when I really started. I guess it was in my 20s, because when I moved to LA is when I finally did it. I was like, this is fine. And I sing better than a lot of these people.
Yeah. It's a great feeling to be done and have the people you're with be like, I had no idea you could do that. That's really impressive. It's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I enjoy it thoroughly.
Do you have a standard karaoke song that you do or two?
Yeah, I mean, I usually try to do, and I think we've talked about this, the Under Pressure by Queen and Bowie, and I do kind of both parts.
Oh, wow. At the same time? You do like the Tibetan throat chanting kind of thing?
But I've made some mistakes too. I tried to do Foreigner's Cold as Ice at a friend's, not at their wedding, but wedding weekend at a bar in Philly, and I just was feeling it and was like, I'd forgotten how high that song is. It was not great.
That can be a problem when you like start in your range, but then you forget, it keeps going up. That's a real karaoke problem. And actually I saw, Chuck, that if you do that enough times, you can get what are called karaoke polyps, which are,
really?
Yeah, it's basically like polyps that grow on your vocal cords from straining your vocal cords by trying to sing like a professional without the training of a professional singer. So it can be deadly dangerous. Maybe not the deadly part, but it can be dangerous.
Yeah, and I used to do the mental gymnastics of kind of like stepping outside and going through the song mentally real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely. All
right,
can I hit the parts?
For sure. And you should. I think just as a responsible karaoke singer, you kind of do need to make sure that you can sing the song because, it's kind of funny to you if you do a bad karaoke performance, but the point of karaoke is to like blow everybody's socks off, like just tear the roof off the sucker is kind of my personal motto every time I grab the mic.
Yeah, and I've had some times where I've seen some performances at the live karaoke thing. There was this country guy that clearly drives in from, country Georgia to do this. Mm-hmm. And he had a cowboy hat on and he did Wanted Dead or Alive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You could tell that's his deal. He comes into the city, he crushes it. And then goes back to the farm the next day, and everyone's like, who was that lonesome cowboy who just wandered through town?
Who was that masked stranger?
It's pretty cool to see an everyday person just get up there and really kill it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that guy has to go out of town because he'd probably get beat up at his town if he tried to do that there. He's got like this, like being anonymous too kind of enables that karaoke gusto, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So you said something earlier. You compared karaoke and karate, and there's a good reason for that because karate means empty hand, and karaoke is actually short for karaoke. Oh, man, I even practiced this. Karaoke. Nice. Which is like romanji when people in Japan take an English word and just kind of Japan it up a little bit. So instead of orchestra, it's orchestra. And kara, so it means empty, and orchestra means orchestra. So it's an empty orchestra. And that's really what karaoke is. It's slang for empty orchestra. And it actually predates the concept of karaoke that we think of today.
Yeah, apparently in the early 50s, there was a pit orchestra in Osaka. They said, we want, I'm not sure what they wanted. You would assume better wages or more bathroom breaks or something. And they went on strike, and the theater replaced them with a sound system. And it was from Matsuda Electronics. And apparently, as the story goes, executive from Matsuda came there, heard the system, and said it's the orchestra. There's music playing, but the orchestra pit is empty, and thus the term was coined.
Empty orchestra. And that was
pretty neat story.
That was in the 50s. I think 1952 was it?
Yes.
So karaoke, as we understand it today, didn't come along for a good almost 2 decades later. So there was this idea that anytime you had pre-recorded music, especially if it was played instead of where a live performer would play, that was karaoke. So it was kind of a handy term that a guy named Daisuke Inoue used when he came up with karaoke. And the idea of who invented karaoke, of who came up with it, is not just widely settled. But for the most part, there is, those who know cite Daisuke Inoue as the guy who actually came up with this, as we understand it.
Yeah, I did see, there were a couple of other people in the late 60s that kind of messed around with machines that kind of did what the karaoke machine does. But yeah, his story is great. If you look him up a picture, he's a pretty cool looking customer. Mm-hmm. And in Osaka in the 50s, he was in high school and he was a drummer in a rock band and then tried to be a musician professionally for a little while. But like so many musicians that tried that for a little while, ended up back at home in his late 20s living with his parents in Kobe.
Yeah, but he gave it a good decade-long try, Sure. He was out on the road. I read this really great kind of mini biography or autobiography from the early 2000s that was published in the appendix. It's called Voice Hero. So look that up. He's just a charming guy.
Totally.
But he tried it for about 10 years, and it just didn't work out because most of the money was pocketed by the older, more established musicians. And he wasn't going anywhere. I think he said that he realized that no matter how much he practiced, and he really practiced, he would never be as good as somebody who had natural talent, and it just wasn't for him. So he decided to try something else. But he didn't want to give up playing entirely. He wanted to try to make a living somehow from playing music. And it just so happens that his parents living in Kobe placed him at this really particularly good spot for karaoke to begin, which is Kobe, which is about 30 minutes outside of Osaka, where the very famous Kobe beef comes from. And at the time in Kobe, and for a while before that, there was a popular pastime of sing-alongs, which is basically like you go to a bar, a snack is what they were called, and there'd be somebody playing a piano or a guitar or something like that, and everybody would sing, popular songs along with the mini band that was playing.
Yeah, but that was like group singing together, not like a single person either delighting or embarrassing themselves. But he got into this scene a little bit, and it was clearly a popular thing. So he's like, I'm a musician. I guess he played piano too, and he learned a few hundred really popular songs on piano, and then started performing as the accompanist.
Yeah.
Accompaniment.
I think that's the Latin plural.
Accompaniments? What's the word for the person?
The accompanist?
Accompanist?
The accompanimist. Hippopotamus.
None of these sound right now.
It's accompanist.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just sounds weird to me, but you know how that goes.
Your brain just broke.
It did a little bit. So he was doing this as the piano guy, the piano man, if you will. Uh-huh. And one day this customer comes in who had been frequenting these nights where he was playing piano. And he was like, listen, I'm a business guy. I got to go to a different city on the sales, for the sales meeting. And I got to take these other people out to go out drinking and singing after. And you're my guy. I can only sing along with you. Right. So would you mind recording something for me that I can bring along? And he said, sure. So we recorded some stuff on a reel-to-reel, gave it to him. The trip was a big hit. And the guy came back and said, I need more of these. Yeah. And that was, literally the aha moment.
He grabbed Daisuke Inoue by his lapels and shook him and said, give me more, man. I need some more. And he did. And apparently right at this time, as he was being shaken, Daisuke left his body, astrally project elsewhere into the universe, where he was greeted by the same entity that led to the creation of ketchup. And the same entity has ketchup and karaoke under its belt, because it met with Daisuke and said, this is pay attention to what's happening right now. Invent karaoke. And Daisuke basically came back to his body and said, I have it. I have this great idea. I'm going to invent a machine that is basically me, what this guy wants me to do live, that I can multiply, create a bunch of different machines that do the same thing, and it's going to be the first karaoke machine ever. And that's what he did. He came up with something called the Juke 8, which is a great name.
Yeah, it's cool looking. The idea, you can look up pictures of the guy with this thing, and it's about the size of a small guitar amp or something.
Which is not bad. You'd think it'd be the size of like a smart car or something for the first prototype.
Like back in the day. Yeah. But it was simple. They had amps at the time. They really just combined a few technologies, which was an 8-track player.
Right, from a car. A car 8-track player is what they started with.
Oh, yeah. And which are really no different than any other 8-track players.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they worked better in motion. I don't know.
No, but that's probably why those cars were so big, because they had to be that big back in the day to hold the 8-track player.
An 8-track?
Yeah.
So it was like an 8-track player mixed with an amp or a PA, a small PA. And his idea was, he called it Juke 8 because it was kind of like a jukebox, is that you would put money in it like a jukebox to get a certain amount of time on the clock, which I think was kind of brilliant instead of like a song. I think the idea is that people would just keep feeding it. Yeah,
he actually specifically said that he chose 5 minutes, 100 yen, about 35 cents, bought you 5 minutes of singing time so that you'd be partway through the second song and have to put more money in to finish the second song. He was a sharp tack in a lot of ways.
Well, in some ways. So I think they took a couple of months to build each. They cost him about $425, which is about $2,700 today. And he said, I got to get some of these tracks recorded. So he got a bunch of his friends to record, musicians to record these instrumental tracks, started shopping it around, and sold all 11 of those machines in pretty quick order.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he sold them or if he took them as like basically proof of concept.
Collect the money.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, he did get them in 11 different clubs around Kobe, and everybody was glad to have them there to look at. And that was about it. They just sat there and nobody did anything with them. Nobody knew quite what to do with them. And even if they did, I think it took, how much gumption it takes in an established karaoke place when other people are doing it. Imagine being literally the first person to do karaoke. Like you probably would, it just took a little bit. So Daisuke hired somebody, he said a pretty girl in a sexy outfit is how he put it in that one autobiography, and had her go around to all these 11 clubs and basically like sing karaoke. And she did it because he hired her to, but apparently she came back and was like, I would do that again just for fun. That was a lot of fun. And from that point on, basically, the whole concept of karaoke took off, at least in Kobe.
Yeah, there were about 200 of these machines in and around Kobe in pretty short order. And I think it's a good time to take a break.
I think it is too, because karaoke is just simmering. The lid is like rattling on the pot ready right now. Yeah, it's about to blow.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well-designed, and they can be well-designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. It's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, hassle and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Well, now, when you're on the road, driving in your truck, why not learn a thing or two from Josh and Chuck? It's stuff you should know. Stuff you should know. All right.
Okay, Chuck, so there's rendered fat spitting out the sides of the pot and steam going everywhere. I just burned my hand on it. Let's tear the lid off of this sucker, which is tangential to my karaoke motto of tearing the roof off the sucker.
That's right. So they're going gangbusters in Kobe. And like you said, it's not too far from Osaka, which is a bigger city. And a couple of entrepreneurs from Kobe said, this is great, but we need to get this to Osaka. And they brought a Juke 8 around, kind of showed it around, and it really hit big to the tune of they were moving about 25,000 of these a year pretty quickly.
Yeah, because so remember I said that Kobe was like a perfect place for karaoke to kind of be incubated because people already did these sing-alongs. In Tokyo and Osaka, it wasn't like that. They liked watching an actual band perform or listening to actual songs on the jukebox. But when these guys, I could not find the name of this club, but that when they opened essentially the first karaoke club in Osaka, I guess it just hit at just the right chord, just the right time, and all of a sudden Osaka was a karaoke town, and in very short order Tokyo was as well. And because it kind of blew up for the first time in Osaka, Osaka is considered the birthplace of karaoke, even though it really was born in Kobe, like very plainly.
Yeah, so, you mentioned earlier that he was a pretty sharp tack in some ways. In others, and I'm not saying he wasn't smart, but he didn't patent the thing. His brother-in-law said he really should patent this Juke 8. He said, you know what? Patent law is really complicated here in Japan. It's super expensive. All I can patent is the business model because all of these, it's just a combination of other components that already have patents on them.
Right.
Which is, I guess it's just different. I know just from my Shark Tank viewing that in America, if you put together these different or any different technologies in just the right way, you can get a patent, not always, but I've seen patents go through where I'm like, well, that's just this, this, and this.
Right.
They're like, yes, but we combine them.
But
and the patent office recognized it.
Yeah, I think it's called an improvement or something like that. And I actually read this really interesting article, Chuck, in Aeon magazine, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, where it basically made the case that we stopped actually innovating, we humans did, back in maybe the 60s or 70s, and that everything we've invented since then is basically just putting existing stuff together. And they use the example of the iPhone, which basically is like, it's amazing. It's this amazing technology, but it's, it's a camera. It's also a phone. It's also your email. It's also text. Like, it's all these existing things just put together in one convenient place. And that's a really great example of how we actually stopped like creating new stuff and just basically repurposing and repackaging existing stuff. And that hopefully we're due for another huge technological advancement sometime soon if we don't just decline from utter decadence before we get the chance to do that.
Yeah, I remember there was a meme a few years ago, or probably a little more than that, that showed the front page of a Radio Shack magazine ad or whatever. And it was at the bottom, it said, all of these are now on your smartphone.
Right.
And it was like 40 things, from like tape recorders to microphones to cameras to, what's the thing that tells the temperature?
An accompanist.
But basically everything, on that page is now on an iPhone. It's kind of like, well, now I see why Radio Shack is no longer around.
Yeah, poor Radio Shack. They did a lot there, and they got kind of dissed at the end.
It was pretty great. I love that store.
It was, and they had a really cool logo too.
Agreed.
So you said that he did not patent the karaoke machine, the Juke 8, right?
Yeah, I mean, he made plenty of money still, though.
Yeah, so yes, he still manufactured Juke 8s and sold them, and he sold tens of thousands of them a year, and they were his machine. So basically, for a long time, until other competitors figured out that there wasn't a patent on this thing, if you wanted a karaoke machine, you had to go to Daisuke Inoue, right, and buy one. So yes, he definitely made money, and he continued to make money over the decades and through the years, selling like equipment or CDs, stuff like that, right? So he was fine. And he actually seems very zen about this. But it is entirely clear that had he patented this, and I think this really kind of drove home to me just how globally popular karaoke is, he would have been a billionaire many times over just from inventing karaoke and kicking back and taking the royalties from that initial patent.
He doesn't I agree though. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. From reading about him, it seemed, because once you do that, your job then is fighting people in court for a living.
Yeah.
And that who wants to do that?
No, he didn't seem interested in it. He also wondered, I think, in that one autobiography article, if it would have taken off had he had a patent on it.
Oh, right.
It might not have just gotten as big as it was. I think that, which is an argument in favor against intellectual property laws. But I think we should do an episode just on intellectual property one day.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Chuck.
Who didn't feel that way was an inventor from the Philippines named Roberto del Rosario, because he did get a patent on his karaoke sing-along system in 1975. And, I guess I don't know his full story, but surely he knew what was going on with the Juke 8 and knew that he could kind of capitalize on that. I read a little bio on him, and apparently he claims that he had no idea about karaoke as far as Japan is concerned, and that he invented it independently. So who knows about that? But he's also very frequently cited as an inventor of karaoke, incorrectly. And then there's another guy, too, who we'll meet. Actually, let's meet him right now. There's a guy named Kei Takage. Come on in, Takage.
So Kei he was a Japanese businessman who happened to manufacture karaoke machines. And the reason that he's frequently cited as the inventor of karaoke is because he and another guy named Earl Glick are the two men who introduced karaoke to the West through a machine debuting in 1982 called the Singing Machine.
Yeah, and we should say that, Dave, one of our great writers, helped us put this together, and he got a lot of this stuff from this point forward from a book by a man named Brian Raftery called Don't Stop Believin', How Karaoke Conquered the World and Changed My Life. And I think this is kind of one of the seminal books on karaoke.
That's the impression I have as well.
But, it came to America, like you said. It had been spreading throughout Japan. And obviously with international business travel and international travel period, it's the kind of thing that eventually made its way to the States. And this film producer of Children of the Corn,
Earl Glick was?
Yeah, that's sort of his most noteworthy movie.
Wow. Because, you
respect?
He was, yeah. I had respect for him just being the head of Hal Roach Studios. Hal Roach Studios were responsible for Laurel and Hardy and Our Gang, the Little Rascals. Yeah. But by the time Earl Glick was presiding over it, it was like basically teetering on bankruptcy and resting on its laurels. Had no idea that he produced Children of the Corn. So yeah, mad respect to Earl Glick.
So in 1980, and again, this is a great story. I hope it really went this way. He was on a cruise ship and he was playing blackjack, ran out of dough and needed to double down and needed more money. because he had a great hand apparently. And there was, like you said, a man named, is it Kai or K?
K, which is short for Kisuburo. Kisaburo.
So K is nearby. He said, here's three large. I can cover you on that. Gave him $3,000. Glick won. And obviously that formed a friendship. He was like, you're a great guy just to give me $3,000 like that.
Yeah. And Kay was like, you're a great guy to pay me back.
Exactly. And they bonded there on the cruise ship. And when they hit Tokyo and docked, Takagi took Mr. Glick back to his office, said, hey, look at this karaoke thing. It's pretty great. You should get these going in the States. And Glick was like, I'm not so sure about this. But Takagi was not to be deterred. And over the next year would kind of send him sales figures to the point where Glick was like, hey, there's some real money to be made here.
Yeah. So I mean, at least in Japan, by this time, 1980, 81, 82, karaoke had been like a huge sensation in Japan for a full decade. Like it changed the culture. Daisuke Inoue basically points to the invention of karaoke as like giving like all of these intensely overworked Japanese office workers a way to like blow off steam and like just feel better about themselves that they otherwise didn't have. So it really took off in Japan, but it was questionable whether it was going to take off in America. So it wasn't like a given thing that just because the sales figures were high in Japan that they were going to translate into America. And at first, actually, that is how it went. When they came up with the singing machine in 1982, apparently Kei Takagi would demonstrate it on the street and get booed
Right.
because, as he recounted later, it seemed like the American public like took offense or was generally agitated when people who weren't professionals publicly performed music, and that was the whole basis of karaoke. It still is.
It's reasonable, though. I mean, here's my deal: like, if someone, there can be a certain amount of bad that's still kind of entertaining and fun.
Depends.
But there's some that's so bad where it's just you're waiting and waiting for that song to end. It's just so painful.
Sure, and that's when you boo to let them know that like you need to stop
never
this.
do that.
No, there's a certain booing threshold for sure, especially when you know that they are essentially deliberately singing badly. They deserve to be booed.
Yeah. Okay, that's a different thing. If someone is just super drunk and being really obnoxious
and
has a microphone in their
too.
hand, that's different.
It's when they're trying and they're bad, that's when you shouldn't boo them because you will totally shatter their spirit forever.
Yeah, so it's up to you as an individual to cast that judgment at that moment.
Exactly. Just use it wisely is all I'm saying.
That's right. Yeah. All right, so it's not taking off quite yet. He's demonstrating it, like you said, not doing a good job. As legend has it, Glick supposedly even took it to Frank Sinatra, who always figures in at karaoke, it seems like.
Yeah.
And Frank was like, no, thank you.
He said, what is this hunk of junk, baby? You can do Sammy. I'll do Frank from now on. Okay. That was actually me doing a bad Phil Hartman impression of Frank Sinatra.
Well, mine is just Billy Crystal doing Sammy Davis Jr. So.
Oh, I like to think of you doing Sammy Davis Jr.
Well, it's funny because Sammy was actually there when Frank turned it down. He was like, I don't know, man. You could make some real dough with this thing.
And Frank said, don't contradict me, Sammy. Not in front of Glick.
Oh, boy. Yeah. That's pretty good. Phil Hartman. I think Joe Piscopo used to do it back in the day, but I always liked Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman's was great. Remember, he was doing some like round table discussion about current topics or something, and Sinead O'Connor was one of the panel members, and he kept calling her like cyanide and cue ball, and like she was like trying to have this legitimate conversation or whatever. He just kept dismissing her.
Jan Hooks, I think.
Yeah. It was great.
That was back when he was really mad at her because she tore up the picture of the Pope protesting abuse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, maybe we should revisit that.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
I think Sinead was kind of right on target there.
She's still around. I can't remember. I was reading about her not too long ago, and I mean, she's still, if not putting out music, I think she's an artist at least. She's still creating.
Still creating things?
Yeah.
So karaoke takes hold in, at least on the West Coast. And I saw some places, like we're going to cover the East Coast and the West Coast. I saw that before this even happened.
The Midwest.
Yeah. Did you see that?
No, I was totally joking. Really?
Yeah. I saw an archived New York Times article about the place we're going to talk about in Manhattan. And they said that it had already been sort of making the rounds in the Midwest because of Japanese auto workers.
Oh, wow. That's really impressive. So,
but it was in the Midwest, so no one knew about it.
So, yeah. So did this predate Dimples on the West Coast, though, or did it kind of also simultaneously go on in L.A.?
Well, if Dimples, what year was Dimples?
Dimples, I have the impression, was in the mid-'80s, I would say. Probably, let's go with 85. No, I'm sorry. 87 is when it really took off.
Well, the article in the New York Times was from 87, and they said that it had already been a thing in the Midwest. So,
wow, that's really hats off to Pika for innovating with karaoke in the U.S.
Probably Detroit, maybe.
I guess that's
I don't know where the Japanese auto manufacturing was back then.
I wonder if it was Japanese executives coming over and talking about karaoke, or American auto executives going over to Japan and learning about karaoke, then coming back to the Midwest and being like, let's do something tonight.
Right. I put on a bunch of mufflers today.
Exactly.
I'm ready to unwind and build something
That's really interesting, man. Nice nugget.
So Dimples, like we mentioned, it was until I think the mid-2000s, a bar in Burbank.
2014 from what I saw.
Oh, is that when it closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
In favor of a Whole Food to be built over the top of it.
The Whole Food?
Well, there are multiple Whole Foods. So yeah, Whole Foods was built over the top.
So this is in Burbank, right across from Warner Brothers Studios, and the owner there, Sal Ferraro, bought a bunch of these karaoke cassettes. He started advertising like, "Hey, we're America's first karaoke bar. You're going to love it." People didn't catch on at first, but they kind of took a page from the earlier days with Dice K when they said, "Well, there are plenty of young, attractive actors and actresses out here, so let's just get some of those in to perform." And it took off. People were like, well, I want to be a star too.
Right, exactly.
And people started hitting the mini stage.
So yeah, so this was Dimples is known as America's first karaoke bar, apparently incorrectly, but it certainly was America's first widely known karaoke bar because it was in LA. But it was extremely old-fashioned in a lot of ways. Number one, there were no K boxes, which we'll talk about in a minute. It was you performing on stage in front of the whole bar. That's considered an old-fashioned style karaoke bar.
Yeah.
Number two, you probably don't necessarily know every single lyric to the song you're singing. So they would hand you a book with laminated pages with the lyrics. So you would be reading from a big binder while you were trying to sing and perform at the same time. That's certainly very old-fashioned. And then also, number three, I think there were only two. Now that I say number three, I think it was those two that made it super old fashioned. So you perform in front of strangers and then you had to read from a book. And so Dimples apparently really took off. And then karaoke also really took off around the world when they added something called CD plus G, which is compact disc plus graphics. That was the third one. They would literally use 8-tracks or cassettes of recorded karaoke music. And then all of a sudden in the late 80s, you had a disc that you could buy that had a whole bunch of karaoke songs, but then also it had a video component to it as well so that you could see the lyrics on screen. And around the late 80s is when karaoke as we know and love it today was born.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things still about karaoke is that sometimes it can still have that old school look with like a nature scene, like a waterfall behind that looks like this looks like the late 80s.
Yeah.
Up on screen in front of me. It's delightful.
Yeah, or at least the early 90s, you know?
Yeah, so that was the West Coast. In New York, there was a place called Sing Along that opened in 87. And this was opened by, I think, like 4 people. Zach Smith, who was the drummer for Scandal. Great band, if you remember Scandal.
I remember The Warrior.
Yeah, exactly. And then an attorney named Mindy Birnbaum, and then Scandal's manager, Donald Zuckerman. And we also should say that they sort of put it on the Western map, but there were places already in Manhattan. There was one in Chinatown called Lotus Blossom, another one at a restaurant called Ichiban. So there were some karaoke bars in Manhattan, but kind of like with everything else, they're like in history says until it's introduced to like white America.
Right. Doesn't exist.
Like it doesn't exist.
Maybe
yeah.
we'll mention it later in a retrospective in 30 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but it did hit it big because of Sing Along.
So are you saying that Sing-Along spread karaoke in America more than Dibbles did?
No.
Okay.
Although they did franchise. I think they opened one in Buckhead here in Atlanta as the second one.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so Sing-Along was also this place that innovated the KJ, karaoke jockey. Not... I couldn't help myself. That was totally involuntary.
Jockey.
Yeah. But the KJ is the guy who is like English Dan, who, gets everybody psyched up to come up on stage.
English Nick.
Whoever. English Dan was a yacht rock guy, right? I'd really like to see you tonight.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was. It was English Dan. English Nick was a KJ. English Dan was a yacht
English
rock
Dan
guy.
and John Ford Coley.
Exactly.
Yes.
That was a great song, too.
Sure.
But so the KJ was innovated at sing-alongs too. And you said the second sing-along was in Buckhead, right?
Yeah, I think, and then Chicago was next.
So that would have been like the early 90s, because the late 80s saw like the beginning of the entrenchment of karaoke, and then the spread really took off in the 90s. And all of a sudden it was like pop culture everywhere, karaoke, for the first time in America in the 90s.
Yeah, and it's funny to go back and read I know Dave pulled a quote from the AJC here in Atlanta, but to go back and read that New York Times article sort of describing what karaoke is really very charming.
I know. I'm saying contemporary journalism is just so helpful. I love it.
It's neat because they're like, people get up on stage who have never sung before,
right.
And some people are bad and some people are great, but everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
It's like, that's karaoke.
Yeah. And so, people made fun of it, but it was still an extremely popular thing to do. Typically like ladies' night, trivia night, karaoke night. Like it wasn't necessarily like a karaoke bar, but it was kind of everywhere. But then there were places that were karaoke bars that started to spring up too. And apparently it started to hit on hard times in the 90s. At least the trend started to die out a little bit.
Grunge.
I'm sure grunge had something to do with it. There was kind of a sea change when grunge came along. But then American Idol actually revived karaoke like gangbusters, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for a nice little cliffhanger.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there.
See what happens next.
Okay.
Did American Idol last? We'll find out right after this.
Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful, it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5, featuring more connection.
Hey Google, where's the nearest Pilates class?
Safety that has your back. More discovery on the scenic routes. More passion in the details. And more control in changing weather. The all-new Mazda CX-5. More to move every side of you. See it in 5 films at MazdaUSA.com/5sides.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC. Sequences shortened and simulated.
Hey, everybody. When you're at work, you never know when you're going to get interrupted, like when an office fire drill happens right in the middle of your presentation, or maybe construction is going on just outside your window. But with the Dell Pro laptop powered by Intel Core Ultra with vPro, no matter how many interruptions you have, your laptop won't be one of them.
Yeah, with a battery that's optimized for the way you work and built-in intelligence that quiets distractions the moment you're trying to focus, your tech won't slow you down, even when you're getting bounced from an office you forgot to reserve. The Dell Pro, built for those who stay in the flow. Find technology built the way you work at Dell.com/Dell-Pro. Built for you. We've all had the experience of calling a business and just wanting to talk to a real person. Not an automated voice pretending to be human, an actual person who can listen and understand and offer help.
That's exactly what you can do with Ruby. Ruby is the virtual receptionist company that takes care of your callers when you're unavailable in the middle of something or simply don't want to pick up.
That's right. They can answer, screen, transfer calls. They can take messages, collect payments, book appointments, and more, all while making the people you serve feel special.
And best of all, it can help you be more productive. For example, 9 out of 10 lawyers who use Ruby log more billable hours per day than the national average.
And other professionals like plumbers and technicians win more customers while being able to stay focused on the job. But whatever kind of small business you run, Ruby is built to save you time, earn you more customers or clients, and make meaningful connections with the people you serve.
It's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and 100% based in the U.S. See why more than 15,000 small businesses use Ruby. Visit ruby.com, or better yet, call them at 844-900-RUBY.
Well, now when you're on the road, driving in your truck, why not learn a thing or two from Josh and Chuck? It's stuff you should know. Stuff you should know. All right.
Okay, Chuck, lay it on them.
Yeah, American Idol comes on the scene. It was huge. I mean, I'm not sure what their ratings are like these days, but in those early years, it was like one of the biggest TV shows in the history of American television.
Yes.
And it apparently revived karaoke because people were seeing regular folks get up on stage and sing. And I think that just sort of coincided with people remembering like, hey, wait a minute, this karaoke thing that Kurt Cobain killed, that was kind of fun. Why are we too cool for school now?
Exactly. Because, I mean, that was, I guess, and kind of is what American Idol is. You got an accompanist playing and you're singing. And that's, yeah. So it kind of made people like get back into it a little bit. So that was, I think 2002 was the first season where Kelly Clarkson beat Dr. Pepper's Lil Sweet in the finals.
Who?
Haven't you seen that Dr. Pepper ad with Lil Sweet?
Was it Lil Sweet, the runner-up?
Yeah. Justin Guarini.
Yeah. That guy.
Yeah. So American Idol was big, and then that was like regular America was like, oh yeah, let's go karaoke, and I forgot about that. And then cool indie America got back into karaoke thanks to Lost in Translation.
Yeah, the very famous scene in the Sofia Coppola film where Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson are in a K-box having a lot of fun on their big night out in Tokyo. And it's a really great movie and a great scene. Unlike all of the scenes in the 2000 film Duets.
One of the worst ever. And like, I mean, obviously there's like Absolution, The Journey or whatever, that Mario Lopez movie that Riff Tracks recently released. Like there's obviously really, really, really bad movies out there. They're so bad, they're almost unwatchable. Duets is bad, like on an offensive level that it's really hard to put into words. It's so... Because they clearly sunk money, time, effort, and thought into it, and it's still so bad. Like these other bad movies, somebody just pooped it out in like a couple of months. This is like a huge, major motion picture, and it's so bad that it almost like ticks me off just thinking about how bad that movie was and that it got released.
Yeah, I never saw it. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is the movie directed by Bruce Paltrow, starring his daughter Gwyneth, Huey Lewis, Paul Giamatti, Andre Braugher, Scott Speedman, a bunch of people. And it's literally about karaoke. And I watched the trailer today, and now I have that stupid cruising song in my head, and I'm so mad.
Yeah. That Geico commercial where they're on the moon gives me flashbacks of duets because that's like the main song that they sing in it. Yeah.
I didn't see that commercial.
I do have to say there's one thing where I didn't know it was Bruce Paltrow that directs it, but there's a shot where Huey Lewis and I think Gwyneth Paltrow are checking into a hotel, and it's like the scene ends and Gwyneth Paltrow leaves the shot and Huey Lewis just stands there and he spikes the camera and blinks a couple of times, and you see more clearly than you ever possibly could how blank it is inside of Huey Lewis's head. You just see it. And maybe he's not blank all the time, but for that moment, he was totally blank. And it's great. Oh, wow. It's one of the great shots of all time. But that movie
check that out just for that.
It's worthwhile. The whole movie is worthwhile just to see that one shot. But it's so bad.
I love Huey Lewis too. So
yeah, me too. Nothing against
very
him.
Sad.
You got to see it. But Lost in Translation was the exact opposite of duets, or that scene was.
Yes. Yeah, it made it cool and hip again, like you said, and it was already kind of picking up steam anyway. But that definitely was like, well, if Bill Murray can wear an Inside Out T-shirt and get up there and sing, what was it, Elvis Costello?
I don't remember what he sang.
I think he did Peace, Love, and Understanding.
No, nice.
So that put it back on the map, and now I guess we need to talk a little bit about just the industry side of it, because when you're putting hundreds and hundreds of songs out performed by different people, like these aren't the original versions. They're recorded by, session players and session singers, because you always have that, sort of background track going. And there's a lot of money going. I mean, karaoke is like a $10 billion industry or something. And everyone gets a cut. Like if you wrote the song or performed the song, or if you have the publishing rights to the song, everyone has to say it's okay to have my song recorded for karaoke, right, and it's okay to have it performed. And each one, there are different monies that people have to pay.
Yeah, there's a mechanical fee to actually record the song. There's a synchronization fee to sync up the lyrics with it, any kind of video presentation. There's a performance fee if it's not done in a K-box, which I don't even know if we said. A K-box is just a little soundproof room that you can rent that's a private room for you and your friends or whatever to perform karaoke in, so you're not doing it in front of strangers. You don't have to wait for other people to go. You just go as often as you want. It is. And then it's just way more fun. And most karaoke places have K-boxes now. But if you're not in a K-box, if it's in front of people, you probably have to also pay a performance fee as well. Not you, the karaoke person, but either the venue or the KJ or the company that's actually directing this. Because time was you used to have to get an 8-track and everything was very tightly regulated. Now there's centralized servers basically that exist in countries around the world that have these huge databases of karaoke songs, to where if you go into a karaoke place, it's just hitting up a computer, probably in the Philippines or Malaysia or something like that, and it's sending back that song and the lyrics with it onto your video screen and through the sound system. So to keep up with all of that is really, really difficult. And there's a lot of lawsuits that were filed. Probably the biggest one was Sony Music suing KTS Karaoke. They sued them for like $1.25 billion for copyright infringement.
Yeah, I mean, there have been plenty of lawsuits, and the same goes with, I think, jukeboxes, and anytime you have a venue where people perform music, if there are cover songs performed and stuff, it's a sort of a legal quagmire, and like you said, even more complicated these days when you can be sort of off book and just do like a YouTube version on a Wednesday night at the bar and sort of be off grid as far as people seeking money are concerned. But if you're a legit karaoke club, obviously you're doing it right, or have a legit real karaoke night with a company coming in, they're doing it right, as in paying all the artists and stuff like that. But there are, some artists who have never signed away their rights. I think Springsteen is one. There are some people who used to, but now the songs have been removed. Like a few Prince songs, Bon Jovi, ABBA, Coldplay have removed certain songs.
Yeah.
Maybe because of complications or because they couldn't get everyone on board. But if you used to sing a song and you come back a few years later and it's not available, that may be why.
Yeah, probably is. So what's weird is that you would think would kill karaoke, but the burgeoning of the internet and YouTube and just basically people creating karaoke songs at their house and being able to in like a home studio with just their laptop has actually kept it going. So karaoke doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Although it does seem to be getting more and more removed from the group. There's a new thing called Wankara, which is a solo karaoke singing box. There's room for one person in there, and that's all the rage in Japan right now, from what I understand.
Maybe it's just like a practice session.
Nope, it's just, I just want to sing because I want to sing. That's what it's for.
No. I mean, I'm sure there's been a person who's like, before I try my chops in front of people, I'm going to rent one of these for myself.
Sure, but I think there's also people who are like, all I want to do is Wankara. I don't want to talk to any of you.
Yeah,
I'm mad
sure
at you
happens.
guys.
There are home karaoke machines, obviously, you can buy. There are apps now. One of the great delights of my life is when my brother sends me a Smule song, Smule. Mm-hmm. It's a singing app where he will be sitting in traffic and he'll record a full song. And my brother's a better singer than me. And he'll just send me like, I'll just get a text and it's attached like, here's a Smule from Scott Bryant.
I've not heard of that.
It's great. I mean, I have it too. I don't use it much, but he's kind of a Smule king. And you can connect with other people to do duets and stuff like that you don't even know. So there's a whole community around it.
So I know we've talked about it before, but we can't stop until we talk about the My Way killings and violence in general around karaoke, because there have been, there was something called the My Way killings, which we talked about in our Is Tone Deafness Hereditary episode. But at least 6 people have been killed in the Philippines during or after a performance of My Way, Frank Sinatra's song My Way. And there's all sorts of interpretations of why that My Way is a really popular song. And so, and bar fights happen, so it just was coincidence. Other people are like, no, they really take My Way very seriously in the Philippines. And if you sing it tone deaf, you're in trouble. But it wasn't just My Way. Apparently, John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads is one of the bloodiest songs of all time, right?
Is that a murder trigger?
I guess there was a guy in Thailand who killed 8 of his neighbors, 8 partygoers at his next door neighbor's house, one of whom was his brother-in-law, because they would not stop singing and they sang Take Me Home Country Roads, and he went over and shot them all dead.
I mean, clearly other stuff going on there.
Yeah, he seemed a little high-strung, but like it was the karaoke that had pushed him over the edge for sure.
Yeah. What do you think Frank would say about the My Way killings?
You got to lighten up sometimes, baby.
I tell you what they don't kill people to, man, is Mr. Bojangles.
You got that right, Sammy.
Yeah, and we should also mention too that it is huge in the Philippines. Like anywhere you go, almost in public, there might be. It's sort of like the going to Nevada, and there's a slot machine like every time you turn around, except there's someone singing in the Philippines.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's huge in Asia in general. Yumi has this great story about how she would kind of, go duck out and go to lunch and sing karaoke and go back to work afterward here or there.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So you got anything else?
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, if you want to know more about karaoke, just get up there and do it. It's not going to kill you, and you're going to be happy that you did. And since I said you're going to be happy, that means it's time for listener mail, of course.
This is from a new 15-year-old fan. Hey guys, big fan of the show, writing to say hi. Just turned 15. I'm from California. I started listening in December, so I'm fairly new, but you guys have quickly become my number one show. Multiple times I've heard y'all say that you lose listeners around high school, but I'm here to assure you that there are high school listeners out there.
Yay.
Anyway, a big reason why I love the show is because all the seemingly boring topics you cover. There's so many ordinary things that we take for granted that have such an interesting history, like barcodes, for instance. That has been one of my favorite episodes so far. I'm glad that Natalie is saying this, because that's something that we love about the show, is our episodes like ballpoint pens and barcodes,
Yeah, that seem boring, but turn out to be fascinating.
Love it. Just today, I was asked for a random fact. I was able to talk about the failure of the Pony Express, thanks to you guys. Also want to say thank you to everyone at Stuff You Should Know for keeping the show so enthralling yet educational. And like so many other listeners, it's helped me through the tough times. I can always count on you for laughter, education, and tangents, one of my favorite parts of the show. And then a final, very kind correction. And we welcome those.
Now we get to the meat of it.
Have been very unkind lately.
Yeah,
We've
I guess
noticed.
so. It almost feels like there's a new breed of listener who's like, look, I don't know who you jerks are, but I think you're jerks, and here's everything I think that you're a jerk about.
There's been a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know what it is. It may be the pandemic wearing on people. Who knows?
It could be. We've gone through waves of that, though, where we'll get like a new swath of listeners in. And then like 6 months later, we'll hear from a lot of them again and be like, look, I'm really sorry about that first email. I can't do without you guys.
Yeah, you still don't know what you're talking about a lot of the times, but I like you.
But I find it endearing now. It's weird.
Natalie listened to the Walrus episode. I'm sure you got email about this, but wanted to make sure you knew the beach creatures by the Hearst Castle that you thought were sea lions are elephant seals. And that is Natalie, last name redacted, and she says, P.S. Don't Be Dumb was a great series.
Oh, that was nice. I don't know that anyone else ever wrote in to correct that, so thanks a lot, Natalie. Nicely done.
Totally.
That was a great email, Natalie. Perfectly done. Welcome to the fold, and good luck with high school. If you want to be like Natalie and get in touch with us, you can send us an email. Wrap it up, spank it lightly on the bottom, and send it off to stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
You know, you could be adored by everyone and still completely ignored by your cat. Trust me, I know. But if you feed your cat Sheba, you can go from being ignored to truly adored in 12 days, guaranteed, or your money back. Sheba has a full menu of products, appetizers, entrees, treats, even a kitten's menu. It's so cute. So Sheba has a product for even the pickiest eater. Like Sheba Puree, it's made with bone broth, their chef-inspired flavors. It's got a smooth and creamy texture that cats love and contains no corn, wheat, soy, or artificial flavors. It's food that your cat's gonna love. To learn more, check out Sheba.com. That's SHEBA.com.
Stuff at Sea is a 5-night, adults-only sailing trip that brings the Stuff Podcast universe to life on board. This voyage is a culture-soaked escape where pink sand paradise meets curious minds. Sailing round trip from New York City to Bermuda on October 2nd to 7th, 2026, this voyage drops you straight into the iHeart Podcast Stuff universe. On top of the adults-only experience you already love, you'll get live podcast episode recordings, behind-the-scenes sessions, themed activations, and more unmissable onboard moments. Learn more at virginvoyages.com/stuff.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.